We've been asked to serve our country. And so we've done that, and we come out with a perspective that is bigger, better, greater, more important than those who haven't. You speak of the 1%. So it's an important 1%. And our task is not to get, but to give back, and to give back for a lifetime.
Thank you for being here, coming to DC and being part of this. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now. You've written a book, a poem.
Well, I have written a book, kind of a peddler with a pack at this point. It came out February 12th, an imprint, first imprint of the Pritzker Military Library in Chicago. It's called Taps on the Walls. This book was mentally composed and kept memorized over a long period of time when I was a POW in Vietnam, North Vietnam. And I wanted my wife to have legacy in case I didn't make it, in case I died up there, and so I tapped it through the walls to fellows so they could help me keep it memorized. Sure. And over the years, this body of work grew into a pretty sizable collection. When I got out, my wife and I, she had hung in there all those years. I had a 3-month-old baby when we left, 7.5 when we came home. But she said, hey, why don't we keep this stuff private? It shows a piece of your soul pretty much. You sure you want people roaming around there? So we kind of buried it, but over the years people had pressed us to make it public. We've done that with encouragement from people like Senator McCain, who did the foreword, and Mayor Daley and Gary Sinise and Medal of Honor guys. So we're humbled by the reaction it has caused across the country.
Can you talk a little bit about the taps and like the tap code itself?
You know, the tap code, we have it in the book. It's certainly been something that has been fascinating to folks over the years, and it's merely a way of arraying the alphabet on a 5x5 matrix for the 25 letters in the alphabet. Of course, you're going to say, what about the 26th letter in the alphabet, which we chose to be K. So it's an A through E and an F through J, with K being an outlier, and you tap the row and then the column. I just wanted to tap, you know, like high would be, that's the H. Okay. And then the second row, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the I. And when people would tap, and you get it, if it was a long word like extraordinary, you give them a quick tap back to say, hey, I got it, and you could press on it. And if you didn't, you do that on the wall and say, hey, I don't have it, and the guy'd have to repeat it. But we had all of these abbreviations that we used. You do 30, 35 words a minute, much like a precursor to the texting that goes on today. If this was illegal, it was by the captor's standards, so they would punish you if you got caught communicating. But we used it certainly to let people know we were alive, to keep a chain of command going, to be true to one another, to use time, make time an ally. In my case, a little over 6 years and 8 months. You need to keep your mind active, to return with honor, make the country proud kind of thing was a big motivator. As I said, staying true to your buddies as well.
Sure. So when did you start writing the poems?
Oh, years ago. Well, I wrote the front end new, and I wrote some back end stuff. In fact, there's a poem in there I wrote just for you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to read it to me?
It's a poem for every man and every woman. It's contemporary. It's written this year, and it's called Taps on the Walls. Okay. I think poetry is best when it's written or read out loud. It should evoke a feeling. Poetry is an exploration, should be. Besides the mellifluence of the words, or the edge of the words, there should be something that sticks out at you. So Taps on the Walls.
Okay.
We build tall walls of different kind for prisoners of war or crime or mind who serve or crouch and cry behind. And if your freedoms you despoil, you prisoners cannot escape the toil to stand and fight with mental foil. Forced solitude, when doubts grow rife, make prisoners who build walls, struggling strife, then tap the walls to regain life. We go through life building, tearing down, erecting new walls, and then somehow we have to communicate to and through those walls, and often you find out that the walls that you have to communicate to are your communications with yourself.
What would be your piece of advice for veterans, military members who have a love for the arts as they transition?
Going off to war is an abnormal thing, especially when they go on for so long. I say in the book that, you know, you never really leave combat. It's a lifetime thing. Someone said recently, well, I've been out on this book tour since February of this year, that it's okay to look back, just don't stare, which I think is excellent advice. But as you come out and get re-civilized, if you will, and I think there is some re-civilization, then appreciation of the arts, I'd even just say appreciation of beauty. It can be a tree or a sky or a cloud or a architecture, but appreciation of beauty is I think something that is overlooked in our educational curriculum, and I think it's overlooked as a re-entry vehicle, as a I don't like the term therapy or therapeutic version, but we all have different thresholds, different levels of what we deal with and how we deal with it. That which we repress, that which we hold up, that would be something that the arts do give you a pathway, a goal, an area to focus upon, which can be helpful in terms of that re-entry into society, family, etc. I reject totally the Brokaw notion that the World War II vintage servicemen and women were our greatest generation. Why do I reject that?
I'd love to hear it.
Well, that means our best days are behind us.
That's true.
And I'm not willing to accept that. I would hope that we would create conditions in a renewal mechanism. And by the way, this book, Taps on the Walls, is very much about individual and national renewal as a principal factor of country, America, being able to persevere and prosper. We should always proceed in a sense where we are, from an individual basis and hence in a collective basis, trying to renew our own lives. It's an imperfect task. We'll do it badly some days and weeks and years, and other times we'll be good at it. But the chore is there. The task is there to keep this process of renewal going. And I think veterans, if you talk about now the commonality, veterans from all the generations have a responsibility to give back to the country in terms of renewal. We've been fortunate to be called out in fair times and foul, for good reasons and bad, with good leadership and crummy leadership, with tremendous experiences and heart-rending and hurting experiences, but we've been called out to do that one thing that is really important, and that is, at that point in time, at that moment, or that collection of events in time, we've been asked to serve our country. And so we've done that, and we come out with a perspective that is bigger, better, greater, more important than those who haven't.
Well, we should sit down. Maybe when you're in New York, we can find.
Oh, you think you get us a gig? You know,
I can definitely get us a gig.
No, you can get us. If you get us a gig, I will get you thrown out. I think I've exceeded my aromatic and splintery limits with you, so I'm very, very grateful.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Is
this fun?
This is fun.
Isn't it supposed to be fun?
It's supposed to be fun.
That's the message. Arts are fun. Service is fun. Finding limits beyond what you think your own limits are, that's fun. And then along the way, you get to break trail for a whole bunch of other folks. Now, no one's putting any money in my glass, and I'm going to quit playing here.